A warm greeting. Today is Friday, June 28, 2024. This is meteorologist Ruben Garcia. In this video, I will be discussing the newly formed Tropical Depression number 2 of the season, which is associated with what was Invest 95. At 5 p.m., the National Hurricane Center reported that we officially have the second tropical depression of the season, and it is projected to continue its trajectory towards the west-northwest over the next few days, as it strengthens before reaching the Lesser Antilles. The forecast is not very promising for the southern islands of the Lesser Antilles, where the future tropical storm Beryl or Hurricane Beryl is expected to arrive as a Category 2 or Category 3 hurricane. It is very important that residents of the Lesser Antilles stay alert to the evolution of this tropical cyclone, especially residents of Dominica, St. Lucia, St. Vincent, and the Grenadines, and Barbados. Later, I will be discussing the expected effects in terms of accumulated rainfall, wind gusts, and wave heights across the eastern Caribbean. Additionally, I wanted to mention that the National Hurricane Center continues to monitor another tropical wave that could also become a tropical depression, as it approaches the same area where the future tropical storm Beryl or Hurricane Beryl is expected to pass. Therefore, it is important to remain attentive to the evolution of the next tropical wave as well. The tropical Atlantic is quite active, which is unusual for the month of June, and this is something the National Hurricane Center has noted, indicating that conditions are favorable for continued strengthening, which is not normal during June. If the National Hurricane Center's forecast is correct, future Hurricane Beryl could become the easternmost hurricane to form in June in the Atlantic. As I have mentioned over the past few weeks and months, this could be the beginning of a very active and dangerous season for the Caribbean. In the visible satellite image, we can clearly see how Tropical Depression number 2 has continued to organize, and it is very likely that it will become Tropical Storm Beryl tonight. If we look at the infrared satellite animation, you can see that it continues to generate strong thunderstorms over the center of circulation, which are signs of continued organization and strengthening. The specialized trajectory models all agree that it will continue its trajectory towards the west-northwest, and should be reaching the Lesser Antilles during the morning hours of Monday, potentially as a Category 2 or Category 3 hurricane. It should pass well to the south of Puerto Rico and the Dominican Republic, but at a distance that warrants residents of Haiti and the Dominican Republic to continue to pay attention to its evolution. In the medium and long term, future Hurricane Beryl may threaten Jamaica, as well as Cuba, and eventually the Yucatan Peninsula and Belize. However, as you will see later, there is long-term uncertainty about where it will move and how strong it will be when it reaches the western Caribbean Sea. Surprisingly, intensity models continue to project rapid strengthening, and it is projected that in a few days, it could be a Category 2 or Category 3 hurricane. Although the official forecast maintains it as a Category 2 hurricane when it crosses the Lesser Antilles, we cannot rule out that it could arrive as a major hurricane or Category 3. Strengthening into a major hurricane in June is definitely historic. But let's look at the official forecast from the National Hurricane Center. Notice that by Saturday morning, it should be Tropical Storm Beryl as it continues its trajectory towards the west-northwest. It is projected to become a Category 1 hurricane by Sunday afternoon, and continue strengthening until reaching Category 2 between Monday and Tuesday of next week. The official forecast estimates that the center of circulation will pass near or over Barbados during Monday morning, and then over the islands of Martinique, St. Lucia, St. Vincent, and the Grenadines on Monday afternoon. It is then expected to follow a trajectory towards Jamaica, but notice that the western half of the Dominican Republic and Haiti remain in the cone of uncertainty, while Puerto Rico, the Virgin Islands, and the northern Lesser Antilles remain outside the cone of uncertainty, although they will feel some indirect effects. It is also important to mention that the official forecast projects that it could weaken a bit between Tuesday and Wednesday due to shear winds from the west. However, being a long-term forecast, there is still uncertainty, and we will continue to monitor how this forecast evolves. Let's now look at the global model runs and the expected effects mainly in the Lesser Antilles, Puerto Rico, and the Dominican Republic. But first, I wanted to invite you to subscribe to my YouTube channel so you don't miss any content that I will be recording related to future Hurricane Beryl. Go to the bottom of the video, to the red button that says subscribe, click it, and then click the bell so you receive notifications when I record new videos. Let's then look at the GFS model projection, where on Monday morning or afternoon, future Hurricane Beryl will be passing just south of Barbados and eventually moving over St. Lucia and Martinique. Notice that the model projects it could pass through the region as a Category 2 or Category 3 hurricane, at least according to the midday run. To give you an idea of how strong the GFS model develops Hurricane Beryl, look at this image, which is a projection of how it will look in infrared satellite imagery, where we see that the GFS model has a very strong and well-organized hurricane passing south of the Lesser Antilles, posing a significant risk to the region. However, remember that this is a model run. but I show it to you because it is a possibility. The GFS model, like the National Hurricane Center's forecast, weakens Hurricane Beryl a bit as it moves south of Puerto Rico and the Dominican Republic, and keeps it quite close to the southern coast of Haiti and the Dominican Republic. Therefore, it is important that residents of this area also pay close attention. Interestingly, it also develops a tropical storm approaching the Lesser Antilles on Wednesday morning. So it seems we will have another threat and possible consecutive impact of 2 tropical cyclones in the southern Lesser Antilles. The GFS model is one of the farthest north in its trajectory. In this case, it takes future Hurricane Beryl over Haiti and eventually over eastern Cuba during Wednesday and Thursday of next week, while the next cyclone follows almost the exact same trajectory as Hurricane Beryl. Now let's see the projection of the European model, which is quite similar to the GFS model. It has a strong tropical storm or Category 1 hurricane moving over Martinique and St. Lucia on Monday morning or afternoon, and eventually maintains a west-northwest trajectory, passing south of Puerto Rico and the Dominican Republic, and eventually taking the center of circulation close to Jamaica. It is projected to approach Jamaica on Wednesday morning, which aligns very well with the National Hurricane Center's forecast. Also, notice that it has a second tropical storm moving over the same region that will see the impact of future tropical storm Beryl. Unlike the GFS model, the European model maintains a westward trajectory, eventually reaching the Yucatan Peninsula and Belize on Friday morning. So when we look at the runs of the two models, it is important that from Cuba, Jamaica, the Yucatan Peninsula, and Belize, they stay very attentive to the projections and changes in the forecasts. In the medium term, notice that the ensemble members of the GFS model mostly have good consensus with a trajectory very similar to the official National Hurricane Center trajectory, and the probability that the center will pass over the Dominican Republic or Haiti is quite low according to the GFS members for now. Puerto Rico, the Virgin Islands, and the northern Lesser Antilles with some indirect effects that we will see later. Therefore, according to the GFS model members, the greatest risk is for the southern half of the Lesser Antilles and then for Jamaica. On the other hand, see the projection of the European model, which today shows a bit more dispersion in the different trajectory scenarios, although the majority coincide with the official National Hurricane Center trajectory. Notice that we also have some members that rapidly strengthen future Hurricane Beryl more than anticipated, and keep it on a more northwesterly trajectory, perhaps passing closer to the Dominican Republic or Puerto Rico. However, this probability remains quite low at the moment, and we continue to project that it will move towards Jamaica. Let's now see what effects are expected to be felt in the Lesser Antilles, Puerto Rico, and the Dominican Republic. Starting with the projected accumulated rainfall, notice that the GFS model projects that between 150 to 175 millimeters of accumulated rainfall could fall over Barbados, St. Lucia, St. Vincent, and the Grenadines, which can cause significant flooding. Also, notice some rain from Guadeloupe to Dominica, but for now, between 30 to 50 millimeters, and for Puerto Rico, 2 to 3 inches of rain, especially for the eastern region. For the Dominican Republic, it will depend on how far or close it passes, and we will analyze this in the coming days. Remember, this is the GFS model projection, which has a Category 2 or Category 3 hurricane crossing this area. But if we compare it with the European model projection, which has a strong tropical storm or Category 1 hurricane, in this case, the rainfall accumulations could be a bit lower, between 70 to 125 millimeters for areas of Barbados, Dominica, St. Lucia, St. Vincent, and the Grenadines, and from Guadeloupe to Dominica, between 50 to 75 millimeters of accumulated rainfall. Additionally, see the wind gust projections according to the GFS model. If it crosses the region as a Category 2 or Category 3 hurricane, the GFS model has some maximum wind gusts exceeding 180 kilometers per hour, potentially affecting Barbados, Dominica, and St. Lucia. Also, in orange, you can see the tropical storm force winds that can affect more northern islands like Guadeloupe and Martinique. Therefore, it is very likely that in the coming days, tropical storm and hurricane watches will be issued for some of the Lesser Antilles islands with this trajectory. Also, notice that the tropical storm force winds should remain south of Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands, but some tropical storm force wind gusts could impact the southern coast of the Dominican Republic if the GFS model forecast is correct. Remember, this model currently has the northernmost trajectory of future Hurricane Beryl, so it is most likely that it will stay on a more southerly trajectory, and with a bit of luck, the tropical storm winds would remain south of the Dominican Republic. On the other hand, compare with the wind gust projection according to the European model, which has some maximum winds of up to 120 km per hour affecting Barbados, Dominica, Martinique, and St. Lucia, as well as tropical storm force winds affecting Guadeloupe. Therefore, it is again likely that a tropical storm watch will be issued for regions of Martinique, Guadeloupe, and Dominica, while a hurricane watch may be issued for areas of St. Lucia, St. Vincent, and the Grenadines, and for Barbados under the European model projection, which is very similar to the official National Hurricane Center trajectory. The tropical storm force winds would remain south of Puerto Rico and the Dominican Republic. In addition to the rain and wind, strong waves are also expected to affect almost the entire Lesser Antilles archipelago, with waves that could be between 8 to 10 feet high, particularly on the eastern coasts of the islands. Additionally, for the eastern and southern regions of Puerto Rico and southern Dominican Republic, waves that could be between 8 to 9 feet high or between 2 to 3 meters high are expected. Therefore, some conditions of coastal erosion and dangerous storm surge can be reported throughout the region. Well, that's all for this forecast update. We will continue to closely monitor what will soon be Tropical Storm Beryl, which will be the first cyclone to affect the Eastern Caribbean. Trust Hurricane Info to keep you informed. Also, consider becoming a member of my channel if you are interested. Go to the bottom of the video, to the blue button that says Join, click it, and see the different types of memberships. Well, I'll say goodbye for now. See you tomorrow morning when I record a new update. See you later.